Not a shadow of a doubt. It's the Cronkite Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to the war zone. We got one man down tonight, but we're going to still rock and roll. Say, I got my co-host Demetri K in the building. Donovan Sadiq is in the building in spirit. And I am the 5-star general. Say tonight, man. I don't know, man. I mean, are Black Lives valued? We're going to figure it out tonight, man. Just stay with us for a second. All right, here we go. Say, I want to welcome you to the War Zone, man, and tell you thank you for tuning in. And as usual, without you guys, it would not be no show. The greatest audience in the world. And I'll give you my sincerest apologies right now. Our scheduled guest had a change of heart. You know, sometimes when the streets talk, people tend to listen. But he didn't make it, so that means we just gonna go into what we normally do. I mean, today was an average day out at the voting polls. I had to stop a little early, got overheated, but I mean, that's the nature of the beast. But as I was sitting out there, I saw that the Texas Education Agency, and I need to say this to y'all again, has decided, along with the governor of Texas, that schools are deemed safe to send your children back to school. And the only thing that I can tell you is if you decide to do it, you the craziest in the world. It's safe, right? But you just shut down the Texas State Fair. Big situation. Texas State Fair ain't never been shut down since World War II. But you're telling me schools are safe to send your children back to school? You gotta be crazy. I mean, outside of that, big press conference tomorrow that I'm a part of. And tomorrow night's guest is none other than Quanell X. He gonna stop through and we're gonna have a real discussion about what happens at that press conference tomorrow at 12 o'clock. It's gonna go down. So I'm gonna turn it over to the queen and she can go at it. You got it.
So hello, everyone. Welcome to the War Zone. Thank you so much for being here. And so before we get into our discussion of Black on Black crime, again, we were supposed to have a guest, but for whatever reason, he canceled. So we're going to get into Black on Black crime and all of that in just a minute. But some of you guys may know that it is Blackout Tuesday, where T.I. called for July 7th to be the day that Black people do not spend Black dollars into the economy, the white economy, and that we should shop Black. And so I just want to kind of touch upon that a little bit. I think we shouldn't really need a day to say, hey, let's, withhold our Black dollars from a system of white supremacy, one that perpetuates police brutality among, or to rather, Black people. And so we should be striving to keep our Black dollars home anyway. It is said that the Black dollar circulates about 6 hours to that of, let's say, Asians who may circulate their dollar 20 to 30 days. So again, we circulate our dollars roughly about 6 hours. Right now, we are giving away 97% of $1.3 trillion because $1.3 trillion is what the African-American community makes here in America. It is said that the money that we make, the $1.3 trillion, is enough to make up, I think, the 10th or the 9th or 11th largest country in the world. And so today has been called for a blackout, not to spend your money elsewhere, to spend it at home. And, I guess I agree with that, but I think, we should always make it a habit to spend our Black dollars first. Now, I know we don't have a whole lot of, options right now, but it's starting to build. In fact, the nail polish I'm wearing, because I always wear red nail polish, is black owned. I went online and searched for a black owned nail polish, and I found some. So, I try my best to shop black whenever I can. I'm ordered my hair from a black, ordered my hair, right? From a black owned beauty supply. So I do my best every day to shop black. And so today is National Blackout Day. Hopefully that will continue and people will really once again wake up so we can keep more of our money home. Gary, what say you?
Well, I thought it was a good idea, but I guess tomorrow gonna be whiteout day because we're gonna go right back to spending our money with them people. Now, that's not their fault. I mean, I'm like you, this should be an everyday thing. It should be an everyday thing, but it's not. I mean, we have no discipline. Ain't no way in hell we could have been in Montgomery, Alabama back in the day talking about we gonna walk for 381 days to work. This new breed of Negro wouldn't have did it. So yeah, if we can affect the bottom line, we get anything we want. But we gotta have the discipline to do it. So, some people asking where's Donovan? Donovan has a family emergency dealing with the COVID. So we need you to keep Donovan and his family in your prayers. As I'm sitting back and thinking, brainstorming, what can we talk about? We kind of touched on it yesterday. They call it black on black crime. I don't know what to call it. I just know that in some instances, we can't keep blaming the enemy for what we are doing to ourselves. Now, the reason that's a little bit different for me because a couple years ago, I had to deliver Christmas presents to a 4-year-old that was shot with a semi-automatic. He had 19 surgeries. Sir Romeo Malum, that's his name. He had 19 surgeries, lived in a rough neighborhood, and I knew his Christmas would not be a good thing. This baby probably will never walk normal again, no matter what age he makes it to. Sports career is probably over because, a lot of times in our neighborhood, that's all we got to try to get up out of there. But, I couldn't blame that on the white man. I couldn't do it because over there where Romeo was, it's the same old thing every day. It's the same old thing every day. We try to teach conflict resolution. It's like it goes through one end, come out the other. And then when one of them, gets shot or get killed, then we want to put the Free Pookie T-shirt on. We want to make him a T-shirt, Free Pookie, or we got the Rest in Peace T-shirt, the balloon release. They shooting up the balloon releases. They clowning at the funerals. I just knew kid get killed. They had the funeral, and they had to stop the man. The man had to stop preaching in the church, man, because they about to fight in the church, man. Now, how we gonna blame that on the white man? And then, last but not least, and I'm glad you reminded me, Rontrell Bradford. Ricky Smiley's daughter was going to Whataburger and get shot 3 times. Now, I want you to think about that because Ricky is a dude that gives a lot to the black community. But I think the people that were shooting, they didn't know who it was in the car. They didn't care. Just like when they shoot up in cars and they end up killing kids and, they don't care. So the thing is do we value African American lives? Do we value African American lives? You got it, Demetri.
Well, I think that black on black crime term is a very loaded term because it's a term we hear a lot. And I would say We hear it a lot from that of, let's say, the Fox News crowd. Gary, mute your mic. Yeah. So we hear it a lot, let's say, from the Fox News crowd, if you will. And then we also hear it a lot within our community, the Black community. And what about Black on Black crime? We, march when white people or the cops kill Black people, but we don't do those things when we kill each other. So we hear all of that. But I think it should be said that crime is about proximity. It's about, who you live next to. So if you live in a predominantly Black neighborhood, you're going to do things overwhelmingly, I guess, to the people you live closest to. So it is said that Black people kill each other to the tune of 90%, right? And white people kill each other to the tune of about 83, 84, 85%, depending on where you're looking. So it's not really that far off. So not to engage in whataboutisms, but why don't we ever hear the term white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime? It is something, just my opinion, that comes from that of white supremacy talking points, really to divert from what they are actually doing to Black people. So what are they doing? As I said earlier, it's, police brutality. It's the wholesale murder of Black people by the police. We have a situation like your George Zimmerman, who killed Trayvon Martin in cold blood, and he was standing his ground and, basically got away with it. And so a lot of times when we hear that, it's, well, Black people kill each other too. So let's talk about that. And so I am here to say that we should talk about Black people killing Black people. But I don't think we should talk about it in a way that it's this thing that doesn't exist with everybody else. Now, how do we get to 90% of Black people killing each other within our neighborhoods? Well, I think you got to go into the neighborhood and look at the conditions of the neighborhood. Now, I agree with you. I don't think we should, blame white people for everything, because I'm pretty sure when Ricky Smiley's daughters was, driving to Whataburger, white people wasn't involved in that. It is said that it was two, I guess, rival, I don't know if they were gangs or somebody who was mad at each other, and they were just shooting, and she got caught in the crossfire. And it sounds like, she's going to have difficulty walking probably for the rest of her life. Two bullets ended up hitting her. So I don't know how much that was about the white man, but I think really just to say, oh, well, what about Black on Black crime and not address systemic and institutional racism, I think that's a mistake.
Now, me and you, tonight, we gonna go at it. We may have a difference of opinion. I think we got systemic ignorance a lot of days. Now, the good thing about me is I actually go into the hood. I go into the war zones. I'm there. So this is my thing for people to understand. The hood ain't never changed. It's the same one I grew up in. I'm a little bit different than them. I don't have as many challenges as them. But, for example, Ricky Smiley's daughter, what they got to do with a white man? She could just go and get us something to eat. What we gonna, I'm not saying you per se, but what are we gonna say? Well, the white man fired him today, so you just gonna start shooting. Once again, we go into the hood, we teach conflict resolution. Now everybody gonna show up for the class, but as soon as the class is over, they revert right back to what they normally do. So my thing is I can't keep making excuses for us doing stupid stuff. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of the things that these guys are killing each other over. Now, I want you to understand, y'all some beautiful black women, but I ain't killing no dude over you. I can go get me some other coochie. I ain't doing it. Yeah, you might drop it to the floor, but I'm not killing nobody for no ass. That ain't gonna happen. So when I sit and I talk to the youngsters, I'm not as graphic, But I make them understand it. You're 16 years old. You're a star football player. You're gonna be dealing with girls for a long time. I'm in love though, Mr. Monroe. Man, you in lust. You ain't in no love. You don't even know what that is at 16, man. You still in the bed acting like you laying on your side when your mama trying to wake you up in the morning. You know you playing with yourself. You ain't in no love, you in lust. A lot of the things that they killing each other over is senseless. Oh, they killing each other over dope money. I want you to understand, I ain't never thought about killing anybody for $150. So you issuing out hits on the streets for $150? You upset not understanding the rules of the hustle game is that come with the game. When they run off with your dope, that come with the game. That's an occupational hazard. So my biggest thing is that you have some people out there, no matter what we do. Hold on a second, we got a guest coming in. No matter what we do, we got to soften the blow. No, what we got to do is start calling a spade a spade. When you start killing kids, I ain't trying to hear it no more. I'm not trying, ain't an excuse you can give me that's gonna justify killing a 4-year-old or 8-year-old. It's not gonna happen. I can't see it. So we just brought in a good friend of ours. Y'all see all the animation on the pages now, and you know my man is the man that do all our technical stuff on the show. So Donovan is out tonight, so we brought Marcus in. So get an opinion on this thing, man. We talking about crime in the black community, and I just feel it's gone too far, and it's been going too far with the killing of kids, man.
Well, I don't think we've been as aggressive with ourselves as we've been with everybody else. You take like Chicago, we should be done turn Chicago upside down twice by now, but we haven't done that. We haven't put an eye on a lot of cities. We got the same thing going on in Chicago that we got going on in Memphis. So I just think it's time for us to start doing some internal things, amongst our own, with our own, till we get a handle on it.
But you can lead a horse to water, but he ain't got to drink it. Demetri can go into the hood and talk to the young girls about being a lady. They ain't got to listen. And that's the problem that I have with them. They have more than enough information on how to turn the corner, but they won't listen.
Some things shouldn't be optional. Some things don't need to be an option. Some things need to be, hey, this gonna stop. We gonna stop it. You gonna stop it, and that's it. Now how do we stop it? It shouldn't be a debate on how to stop it, or trying to force it to stop. It should just be the conversation of, hey, this got to stop. Now how do we stop it? You don't need to negotiate the life of a child. You need to let people know that's unacceptable, and this needs to be the last time it happened. And we ain't gonna debate with you your reason why it happened or your logic for what you do. We just gotta let you know it's time for that to end now. Whatever your excuse is, it's time for it to end.
Demetri, can we look at some of the root causes of the violence? And I'm gonna throw this out there, that a lot of these kids are raising themselves. A lot of these kids are raising themselves. And I look back on it a few years back, well, a long time, maybe 20 years ago, I was looking at and having conversations with people, and they thought it was cool when a 12 or 13-year-old was having babies. So there's no parental guidance a lot of times in the house, especially with the kids that I deal with. I'm not going to say that about everybody's kid, but in the neighborhoods where I go and hone my craft, There's no parental guidance, but even if the parental figure is there, they don't even have a skill set to raise a kid. The kid is raising the parents. You got it, Demetri.
Well, and that's I was actually going to touch upon that as far as, you know, who is raising these kids. You know, a lot of times, and I'll tell you guys a story. When my daughter was probably like 1 or so, maybe a little younger, she was spoiled. Like, we couldn't tell her no. And then my mom's best friend, she said to my daughter's father and I, she says, you guys don't love your daughter. She says, you're in love with your daughter. She says, there's a difference. When you love something or someone, you do what's necessary, even if it means hurting their feelings, to put them on the right path. When you're in love with somebody, you allow them to do any and everything, run roughshod all over the place, eat as much junk food as possible. You do not corral them and discipline them. And so I think, to your point, as far as, one of the things, young parenting and all that kind of stuff, people, they have just become in love with their kids. Now, I hear a lot of people say, you see kids in our neighborhoods, they're dressed to the nines. They got, because I used to work in a youth program. And these 7th and 8th graders would come to school with these gold chains and, the latest Jordans and this, that, and the other, the latest phones and stuff. And it was just unruly. And if you ever tried to say something to their parents about them, I mean, we used to have parents coming into the classroom screaming and hollering at the staff. You don't tell me what to do. I know all of that. So that's part of it. So I agree with you that we do need to take accountability. But the other part that a lot of people really, really, really negate to talk about is the men. The men in the neighborhoods. And I'm not talking about y'all, the ones that's out there in the neighborhoods. I'm talking about all of the men who know that you got these shooters running around in the neighborhood now killing 1-year-old babies. Where are the men to get together and say, we know who did it and we're going to take out our own justice? We don't need the police to solve this. We know who the troublemakers are in our neighborhood. Where is this coalition of men? Because, see, we got the, not fucking around coalition who, is going to take white supremacy to task. But where's the not fucking around coalition that's going to take our own people to task? Those boys or whoever's doing these shootings in the neighborhood or who are terrorizing the neighborhood, who's doing all of these things to our own people, they shouldn't even be able to think about doing it twice because they know the old heads or the dudes in the neighborhood is going to be on their ass if they do it. So there's no fear put into a lot of these kids because a lot of them are kids who are doing the shootings. There's no fear.
The problem with the neighborhood, and we have to understand, is we had black flight. Coming up out the 80s and the 90s, we had black flight. The OGs live in the suburbs now. And a lot of them don't even go back to the neighborhood. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd love to have I want to build a school. That's what I want to do. I want to build a school called Fuck Your Kid Up Elementary. And it's going to be a K through 12. Because I'm not your friend, I'm not your partner. But I will fuck your kid up if they disrespect me. I will fuck your kid up if they disrespect women in front of me. When you played football for me and you dropped your kid off at my park, you already knew what it was. You don't have to worry about him injuring his knee. I'm going to fuck him up if he say something out of line out here. And until this day, I ran into 2 of my old players in the lobby of the hotel yesterday. Hey, Coach Monroe, how you doing? Still the first aspect of it is to teach a kid that respect goes a long way. Yeah, they're fearless, but they the most disrespectful that I ever laid eyes on. See, but me, I'm that dude that's gonna tell them. When you disrespect me, you don't get a second shot at that, homeboy. I'm gonna be straight up with you. You don't get a second shot at that. So, but I think that somebody, an organization or something, there's always organizations popping up, that they need to create something where some of these people who really want this, because I've ran into people that want it, they need parenting classes. They really need parenting classes. What you think, Marcus?
I agree with that, but I'll be honest with you, man. You got a lot of black men and you got a lot of black people that just do not care. Now, when you show up like this and you show up with a big camera and, a celebrity or something, then we care. But inside our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our churches, on our streets, a lot of people just don't care. And it's a situation now where you look at it like where I'm at. We just watch it happen every day, over and over again, and we throw a little prayer on it. We throw a nice funeral on it. Then we wait till the next one. And the only thing I can say to that is you just have to be in a position or a mindset where you don't care if your summer is going to be filled with children's funerals. And you got a lot of us just don't care. I mean, you can educate all you want. Some people do not care.
I'm gonna be straight up with you, man. I totally agree with you. I see it. But I believe, because I deal with these youngsters in these rough neighborhoods, I believe that they're reachable. I think they want somebody to be tough on them. But you have to gain their trust. They don't trust anybody. You got to gain their trust. Now, once you gain their trust, you can turn that kid. I don't care what his age is. You can turn that kid once you gain his trust. You can help him become a better student. You can help him become a better person, but you have to gain their trust. They've been let down so many times that they don't trust anybody. And they act out as a means to get someone to reach out and try to help them. I've seen it. I mean, I've walked in police offices in schools, kid in handcuffs, take him out them cuffs. Man, take the cuffs off him, bro. Let's talk, youngster. What's the problem? And then 30 minutes later, we figured out. We figured out.
And then I'm going to say this too. The homies got to stop letting the homies off the hook. You can't be my best friend and be my homie out here in the streets. And I know your child is out here running rampant, but me and you cool. And I'm a good parent, but you ain't shit. But I still hang out with you like you all right. We need to start confronting our own and confronting people around us that we know, especially like in our churches. I might not stop going to church, but you can know every Sunday I come in there, I'm going to have the same thing to say until you get it. And if you don't get it, then, confront me with it. But let's have it out. Let's see where your mind going to get to. Because that's one of the things, we make it acceptable for a lot of people to make excuses for not being good parents. Well, I tried. I ain't tried till I died. If it take my death to save my son, shoot me, fight me. But that's where we'll go to. But you got a lot of them say, "Oh, I did my best."
Well, guess what? And then I'm gonna turn this over to Demetri. I would tell that parent that says, "I tried." I need you to try to save your child as many times as you laid up with that man and tried to have him.
And y'all make good points. My sister is a school teacher, and she's a teacher in the inner city, I guess you could say, the urban community, rather. She's in deep South Florida. And she's been a teacher for about 20 years. And I can't tell you how much. She doesn't have any kids of her own, but she has adopted so many, not like legally, but, taken on so many children who, came from a home where the, mom might have been doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing. A lot of times they didn't have food, electricity, a whole host of things. And I think she would agree that the kids just really needed to feel cared about. A lot of times those, students had very young mothers themselves, not, no more than 14, 15 years older than their children. So a lot of times those parents probably really didn't know how to be a parent because they were still, growing up themselves. But I agree with you. Kids need to feel cared about. But there used to be a time where the teacher could, put a whooping to the kid's backside or, get in their face. But you can't do that now. Because my sister, who I said is a teacher, she said she had plenty of parents come up to her classroom, behind something she said to their kids. Or, you took my child's phone and that phone cost $1,000, and like in front of all the kids, just like doing the most. And so we've lost for one thing, teachers who are the authority figure. They spend the most time with your kids during the waking hours, right? They can't even say nothing to your kids without, mom or dad want to come up there and whoop on the teacher. And then also, Gary, I think it was you that made the point that kids want to be disciplined. A lot of times, kids, they don't have any direction. Now, I'm not saying discipline as far as always kicking their butts, whooping them and beating on them and all that, but just really giving them some discipline, some direction. Hey, I care about you. That's why I'm telling you, you need to be in the house, by 7 o'clock or the street lights, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of times they don't get that. And so they're out there unsupervised, running roughshod all over the neighborhood. And then the mama get the call that a son was involved in, something he wasn't supposed to be. And then the rest is history.
I say, yeah, I agree with you. We have to, stop being our kids' friends.
Amen.
My girls know one thing. I love you, but I ain't your friend. I'm your father. It's a big difference. I'm not your friend. You play with your friends. You don't play with me. 24, 25, I'll knock your grill out your mouth if you say it the wrong way. See, the thing is all of us here with the gray strings, and some of y'all got them, y'all covering them up, putting that color in your hair and your goatees. You had the same type of mama I had. So this is what I'm going to say. There were two big shifts in the African American community, two big things that happened that really screwed us up. Integration messed up the African American community. That was one thing. And that played a part in it. But see, the second thing that really messed us up is we really don't get it. Kids have never changed. We them same kids. The kid ain't fucked up, it's the parent. They changed the blueprint. Hold on, dog. They changed the blueprint for raising children. Kids, dog, I come from the hood. Ira Sanders comes from Hard Clark, Texas. We come from the trenches. We walked them same streets. The difference was we had parents at home that didn't play the game. You didn't have to tell us you need to be in before the street light come on. You already knew that. You didn't come on with 4 or 5 F's on your report card and walk in and go jump on your PlayStation. You were scared to come on with anything under a C. You didn't even test them waters. Ain't no way in hell you gonna pick up a phone and call your mama and tell your mama, Demetria, I'm in jail. Because you already knew what she was gonna tell you. I ain't come to get your ass. Stay there. And the reason I'm using this language tonight is because when I sit and I talk to a kid, this is exactly how I talk to them. We have these children living in a fabrication. And the last biggest mistake we made, you're gonna love this, Demetria. You're gonna eat this up. You too, Marcus. When you decided to start raising your black kids like they were white, you mess them up. It's not a racist statement. It is a true statement. When we started with your time, okay, little Johnny go to timeout. No, little Johnny, you better sit your ass down. That's what you better do. Before what I said, fuck you up. 3, 4 years old, I will fuck you up. When you started raising your children like they were white, you fucked your kids up.
I'm gonna say this. Is one big thing that shifted from the 60s to the 70s going forward. We started having more and more babies having babies. We didn't have grown folks having children. We had kids having children, and they were still kids by the time their children got old enough to be their friend, to go out with their mom, to go out with their dad. And I'm gonna say another thing also. If you look at how things changed after the 60s, when drugs hit us in the 70s, a lot of the fathers moved out of the house if they was dealers, or if they started getting these nice jobs in Detroit and in the factories. A lot of guys didn't want to be a husband, they wanted to be a player. You got to remember the 70s was big on pimps. We promoted it, we worshipped it, we celebrated it. Then no man want one wife, he wanted some hoes. And your children saw that. By the time we got to the 80s, we was in denial with the idea that we were on our way somewhere when drugs were slowly taking us down. Reaganomics was wearing our ass out. NWA was telling us what was going on in California. Public Enemy was telling us what's going on everywhere else. We still didn't get it. We still didn't get it. We watched it. We saw it happen. We saw all this coming. We did not get it, and we did not try to head it out. We did not try to stop it. If anything, I think more of us benefited from it. You got a lot of people that ate off of this plate that we eating off of right now, and we paying for it. You know.
I think you're being too nice. I like you. You do great graphic work. You're being too nice. Demetra, I'm gonna ask you this question. I think the shift came when we took, everybody talk about the discipline in the schools, but when we took the discipline out of our own houses, when kids started having the balls to raise up and put their hands on their parents and still be able to have oxygen in their body, that's when the game switched. That I wish you would if you was mine. You know what your mama said, Marcus and Demetra and all of y'all? I brought you in this world, I take you out.
Let me hit you right here. Let me hit you right here. You know what I'll meet you with that at? My mama, she had that right. My father couldn't say shit to me. You was doing the same shit I was doing. You was trying to come in the same back door that I was coming in, and she my age. You know, you looking at the same ass I'm looking at. You out here on the same corner that I'm on. See, that's where like the discipline part came in. It's kind of hard for you to discipline me when you holding me up as the dope dealer, and I'm selling some of your dope now. Here you go, take this gram and go make you some money. Get you some more ass. Or my son a player, my son a pimp. It's a lot of things that we promoted, and we took being a parent out of the situation. And like you said, we became friends. So it's hard for my dad to put his hands on me when I know you just ain't jack shit. You might get your ass whooped.
Now I know Demetra is the strong black woman on the show. So I'm gonna shoot this at you. Now I'm gonna make some women mad. We had one parent homes in the late 70s and the 80s, and a whole bunch of us made it. What's wrong with these women nowadays? Yeah, well, it wasn't no man in some of them houses, but it was some strong black women in there, and they didn't play no games. What's wrong with the sisters, Demetra?
Oh boy, yeah, y'all put a lot out there. So you asked me what's wrong with the sisters. I would like to. It's because it's a really loaded question. I mean, it's a loaded question, and I'm trying not to come off as condescending and blaming just black women, because Donovan and I have this heated discussion a lot. he likes to talk about what is, single black mamas, single mamas, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you can't have a single mama without an absentee daddy. But I don't want to blame it on just the men either. But we do know that there was the women's libs, that came along. White women grabbed along with black women and say, hey, let's go, be free, find ourselves. We need to leave our men, and they ain't shit and all this other stuff. But what black women, the memo they didn't get was that while the white woman was out in the street from 9 to 5, she had her ass at the house making Don or whoever he was a casserole when he got home from work. See, she was playing women's lib, but black women really bought into that, helping to dilapidate the black homes, in addition to the mass incarceration of our men. And let's not forget, drugs and all that other stuff. But I want to say this as a black woman, okay? There is not one other living organism on this planet, and I will put everything I own, okay, including my watch from Amazon for $12, okay? I'll bet everything I own that nobody or nothing has been through as much hell as the black woman in America has been through. Now, I'm not negating what black men have been through. Y'all go through hell too, but black women have been through it all. So I think the black woman that you're seeing now in 2020 is really just a manifestation of all the things that we have had to go through. We've had to, raise our children alone. Some of it was by our fault. Some of it wasn't by our fault. A lot of times our men were just taken away, killed, or whatever the case is. The man was not there. In addition to, okay, a lot of times, I know y'all gonna get mad, a lot of times y'all's black men, y'all don't treat us right either. Y'all take us through the most stuff, okay? I'm not saying it's all y'all fault, but I'm saying it's a combination of everything. In addition to some of the messaging that women get, like I don't even listen to the regular radio, but look at a lot of these female images that are put before us, just us in general. You have your Megans and your Lizzos and your Nickis and, all of those people. Now, combine that with a woman who may not have had a mom at home who was awake, or may not have had a dad at home that was in her life and taught her how she's supposed to be treated as a woman. So now she's getting all these images. Now, instead of the 20-year-olds having a hot girl summer, you got the 40-year-old mamas and some of the grandmamas out there having a hot girl summer for whatever reason. And so when you ask me what's wrong with black women, it truly is a loaded question. But more importantly, it's because we have no knowledge of self. And I want to also kind of throw in, when integration happened, to your point, Gary, we did lose a sense of community. Because when we were all together, we looked after each other. We had that village. I remember my mom telling stories of her getting smart with the lady that was blocks, lived way down the street and around the corner. She got slapped by the lady. And by the time she got home, she got slapped again for getting smart with the lady. See, we don't have community anymore, right? So we got, I can go on forever.
I got a question, Demetria.
Sure.
Did women lower the standards?
Did we lower the standards?
Did we lower the standards for who we made a father out of? Did we lower the standards for who we made a boyfriend and a husband out of? Did we lower our did they lower their standards for certain things to be acceptable, as acceptable behavior?
On the surface,
I want to hear that answer.
You sure? On the surface, I would say, now the very top of the surface, I would say yes. Some women have lowered their standards, but the question I really want you fellas to answer is, why are some of these men out there low standards to begin with? As a woman, I shouldn't even be able to find so many low standard men. So when did men become low standards? Because I hear a lot of times women get, accused of, well, you sleep with any old body, which is true. Sometimes women don't make a good choice, but how come y'all can't be good choices for us to choose? Now, I know somebody's going to take exception to this, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said a no good woman was probably made that by a no good man. Now, y'all do what y'all want to do with that, but y'all accuse women of not having standards. But why aren't you guys above standard, or at least standard?
I want to hit that one real quick. Let me hit that one real quick. You know why? Because we made it respectable. We honored it. We celebrated it. We even awarded it the word bitch and hoe. Do you know how many people we have honored and celebrated that made their careers off of bitch and hoe? You know,
I don't care how many times.
It became okay to treat a woman a certain way if you gave up certain things, or if certain things became acceptable. And believe me, I know it's just music, but I learned how to use the word bitch and hoe really, really good by listening to certain songs over and over. And I got used to saying it. I got comfortable with it until I had a child.
But you know what, though? I can hear bitch and hoe and all day long. But if I have knowledge of self, I know I'm not a bitch and a hoe, and I'm not gonna hang out with no man running around calling me no bitch and no hoe. So that's why I'm saying it. To me, it all stems from having no knowledge of self. And we as a people, we just lack knowledge of self.
Only your point about standards being lowered, and some of these dudes ain't worth a damn. Some of them ain't worth a damn. Some of them don't understand that they have to be providers. They have to be able to take care of the home. They don't know how to do that. I have a problem laying up with anybody and them taking care of me. It's not gonna work with me. I'm not built that way. And the reason I'm not built that way is because I was trained that way. I was trained that way. Now, no matter what people say, at the end of the day, I can't keep making excuses for men. I'm not gonna do it. A lot of these dudes have opportunities. These kids have opportunities. These young men have opportunities that none of us have ever seen. They can do anything and everything they ever wanted to do. They can be whatever they choose to be. But if they end up sorry, like my coach used to say, they perfected the craft. Because that's what they want to be. See, a lot of these dudes get out here and they looking for women to take care of them. And the women make it easy because they start them off the wrong way. They start taking care of them. They start taking care of them. I don't need no woman to take care of me. Not financially, I don't need it. I just need you to do what a woman gonna do. What she's supposed to do. But I don't need you to take care of me financially. I'm not gonna allow that. I'm less of a man when I can't do that. You know, we have to stop making excuses. And you know, the thing is, whether it's economics, power of self, you know, whatever it takes to get us in order, we already know what we got to do. But it ain't like we got to go searching for solutions. We already know what we got to do. We just don't do it. Now, some of us get out here every day and you know, try to give the game to everybody. But like I say, you can lead a horse to water, but you sometimes they don't even drink it. Some of these youngsters want to be killers. Some of them really think it's cool to walk around and pull that tool. But if that's the case, and you go out there and you kill somebody, then my goddamn house ain't New Edition. A New Edition don't live in my house, Mr. Telephone Man. What is you calling over here for every 5 minutes? They ain't talking about taking my commissary. They gonna take your ass next. That's what they gonna take. But that's something you got to deal with. And see, the judicial system made it easy for kids to fail. Because all of a sudden, and I don't know what era it flipped in, you could do anything and get right out of jail. I don't give a damn if I could get right out of jail. I was too scared to go. Because that little 99-pound woman was going to bring that heat when I got home. And I ain't want to test them waters.
You know, and I want to piggyback off of what you said about, you know, men wanting a woman to take care of them and all that. My dad always says, you know, and he's been in the Nation of Islam since he was 19, but he says a woman don't need a man to help her do nothing. And unfortunately, a lot of women, you know, and I get it. I completely get it. I'm not making excuses for it. You know, a lot of times we as women, especially Black women, we've been through a lot. You know, maybe we don't have great self-esteem. A man comes along and, baby, I'm going to be your everything, your sugar on the string. Oh, girl, I've never heard all of that other stuff. And we just fall for it. But we don't actually put him to the test until we done moved him in our house, find out that he really ain't got no job. Or he forgot to tell you about, you know, the 50-11 baby mamas he got and all that other stuff. And so then we end up, for whatever reason, staying in that situation when we should have asked all of those questions in the beginning. But I agree, you know, a woman don't need a man to help her do nothing, and vice versa. I mean, a woman's got to bring something to the table too. It's got to be a give and a take. But we know that, you know, especially Black households, or, you know, let's say Black women, we are single to the tune of about 77% for whatever reason. Whatever reason we're not with our men, or our men are not with us. We have to fix that. And that's part of the problem I don't think we really address, as much as our family units don't stay together anymore. Mom and dad don't stay together. You know, we have kids, and then we each move on to a different relationship, and then those relationships don't work, and then we get into another relationship, and the kids are watching that. It's few far and in between now that I have younger nieces and nephews, and I love it when I hear them say, my parents. I got to ask my parents, because their mom and dad are together. But a lot of times you hear them say, well, I got to ask my mom. You know, I got to see what my mom says. You know, you mostly hear the mom, but you don't hear the family unit together, my parents. So we need to start staying together for the culture.
Okay.
I agree with you on some of those. And I just really feel like if you're going to be a parent in 2020, stop fucking around. There's no other way to put it. Stop fucking around, or you're going to bury your child early. Because the agreement is they're supposed to bury us. We shouldn't be burying these kids this young. We shouldn't be burying these kids this young. So there is a drop of the ball somewhere. It's somewhere. And I'm telling you, I'm in them schools, and you know, the thing is this. It's cool if you want to be single, pretty Black woman. But you got 3 boys living in your house. And at least 2 of them boys gonna end up being punks. Because you're raising them soft. And you're sending them out in the world that's hard as a rock. And they gotta survive this. They don't know how to navigate these waters. You know, I used to tell a story, and it's simple. I used to sit on the porch of the freshman girl dorm when I was in college every semester. Because I knew somebody had sent their child to college that they had kept in the house and hid them from the world. And I didn't have no food in my dorm. I was broke. And your daughter finna take care of me all semester. And I want you to clearly understand this, Marcus. I found a sucker every August and every January.
Same here. I can't say nothing different today. Let me say this though. Right now, if you really look at it, you got like a lot of men who was at home with the mom. The mom was raising them, but she did more for the guy or the boyfriend who replaced the father than she did for the son. She made the son the enemy. And you got a whole lot of it. You got a whole lot of it. You got the same thing with the daughter. You made your boyfriend sometime your boyfriend and your daughters too. And you have a whole lot of it. You have a whole lot of it. And then you have a situation right now where it's like it's cool to not be shit. I can still lay between your legs. I can still eat off your plate. I can still come through your door at any hour. And I ain't shit. And your excuse is, but he here. You know, your son and your daughter gonna have a hard time respecting you all the way through that training that they supposed to be getting when they watching you go through this and allow them to go through it with you. And you have that in so many ways right now. I can't even explain it. And then I'm gonna tell you something. You got a lot of kids out here who father already in the ground. And if he ain't in the ground, he waiting in cell block 2, so somebody can tell him you in cell block 3. You know, you got. I don't even know how to explain it. You got a situation. I don't even see the starting point to fixing it. I really
Okay,
don't. I hate to say that here, but I don't.
we could have this discussion for 20 straight hours and 20 straight days. What's the solution? We got to have a starting point. We can't fix it unless we have a starting point. So what's the solution?
The solution is we got to stop making excuses. We have to stop making excuses. You know, I think really too. I think I have an echo in the background. I think, you know, like most of us have been on social media for quite a while. And I would say every day, if not every other day, we see black men and black women bashing each other. You know, hell, I didn't read all off into it, but I've seen headlines with black women. They're now mad at 50 Cent and Lil Wayne, I guess, because they talking about they only prefer exotic women because, you know, I guess 50 Cent said black women are loud and angry and all this other stuff. So you have a lot of divisiveness going on between black men and black women. We have to fix that because at the end of the day, we are all we got. You'll never, I don't say never because I don't like to deal in absolutes, but you rarely see white men and white women going back and forth at each other's throats on social media talking about you ain't this, you ain't that. And you don't see the Asians doing it. You don't rarely see the Hispanics doing it. You see us doing that. So we got to start liking each other once again. We're made for each other. We are all we have. The other thing, I'm going to say this, is within our community, we got to stop. And I'm not saying nobody else is doing it. I'm talking about us. We got to stop all this goddamn infidelity. You know, bed hopping from bed to bed and being with this person and that person. And I tell you guys, I'm speaking from a point of view as a black woman who has been through a lot of trauma due to that of a black man that I was in a relationship with. I've only been with black men, and every black man, except for the one I'm with now, has cheated on me and has done me low. So, and I'm not saying black women don't do it too, because black women cheat. I'm speaking from my point of view. We got to stop all of that. We got to find ways and reasons to make it. Stop looking for perfection. Nobody is perfect, but we are all we got, and we got to start staying together because we are, whether we know it or not, as parents, we are always teaching, whether we're teaching something good or whether we're teaching something bad. The kids are always watching and learning from us. And so if they learn from us that, well, mama don't like daddy and daddy don't like mama, you know, and all for whatever reason, then they start to teach those same things. They go out into the world and they do the same things. So we got to just stop making excuses.
Okay, that's a good starting point. My thing that I would like to see is put the black man back in the game. The absence of the black man, not just the black father, but the black man. When you walk in these schools, it's not enough men in these schools. It's not enough men in the church. You're letting the church demasculate the black man to a certain degree. And then you want these young men to turn out okay. But everywhere that the black man was, he's missing now. And a kid spends 75% of his day in a schoolhouse, and he doesn't see enough positive black role models. You can't expect it to happen. Yes, if he plays basketball, he has 2 or 3 great role models right there, those coaches. If he plays football, he's got about 8 role models. But that's when he goes to the field and to the court. But when he's walking those hallways and he's sitting in those rooms, those are frustrated female teachers. There is no male teacher presence anymore. But this is where they spend the bulk of their time. Don't take me to church and sit me in a church with people that all of a sudden they have different ways of living their life, which is their life. But anytime that the church is cool with demasculating the black man, don't think that these kids are not going to be affected. Now, I know some people don't want to hear that, but that's the real, man. The positive black role model is absent. Most of and I applaud the women for creating a lot of these nonprofits and civic groups. It's not enough men creating them. It's not enough male mentors. We got too much other stuff to do, man. Saving kids should become your priority. That's what I would ask to come to the table.
Agree with that.
Somebody wanted to know how.
Hold on a second. I want to put this comment up for you. It just popped up.
That's the one I was talking about.
How the church to blame? Let me get in your mind right now. We were raised a certain way. And now we've figured out that we can manipulate the words of God in your Bible, and we twist it to make it look a certain way to be able to accept certain things. It ain't cool wearing no skirt to church if you're a man. And I got little boys coming up in here, man. The church is one of the biggest problems because you have a problem with the amount of money I put in the collection plate, but you ain't got a problem with the amount of money my gay brother put in the collection plate. It's too much of this stuff going around that's infiltrating our children's minds. And these kids are confused. They don't know what to do. So this is why they act out. This is why, I got a niece right now. I don't know if she a girl or a boy right now.
Wow.
But I'm being honest with you. 2 years ago, she was in the boys. Then 3 months later, she was in the girls. Then 4 months later, she pregnant. But now you're telling me you and your girlfriend gonna raise the baby. Fuck all that. It's not acceptable. I'm sorry, y'all.
Let me weigh in on that, church. Let me get that. Let me get a little bit of that. The first thing is, the church don't know how to come outside the church. I got in my community. I told y'all I got probably 80 different black churches in a black community that's deteriorated down to nothing. And when you go to the church and say, "Hey, what we gonna do?" the church tell you, "We'll get back with you next week." They don't get back with you. You get a group of pastors together, the only thing they want to do is pray. They don't want to do nothing else. You go inside the church and say something, you got the mother board and the deacon board looking at you like you a cool ass nigga who you gonna get us in trouble. Why you coming in here with all that? The church really been preaching one goddamn message from the beginning of time. We gonna overcome. I see a change coming. A change is in your future. And none of that shit ever come to fruition. But your collection plate build up, your new churches get built, your suits get better, your cars get better, but your streets get shittier. And the people in your congregation that started out as babies, they laying scratched out across the front of your church before they become grown men. But you ain't doing shit. You ain't doing shit. And then a lot of you, hold on, let me get this one out. A lot of you are afraid of your pastor. You're afraid of your church members. You're afraid to say anything when you all know you sitting there listening to a hypocrite. When you all know he full of shit. So you can mute the church is probably the biggest problem we got. Because everybody think we can pray our problems away. If you couldn't pray it away in 1862, you can't pray it away in 2020. Otherwise, shit would be a hell of a lot better if prayer was that strong without you doing any goddamn thing else.
She said, Veronica says, I agree with how things changed in the church. That's why I'm not in it. But going is an option. When I was growing up, it wasn't an option. Your black ass got up and went to church every Sunday. You went to Sunday school. I don't know what them people were talking about in Sunday school, but I was in there half asleep because I already knew if I didn't go, it wasn't even an option. You see, that's the thing. You didn't tell your parents what you were gonna do and what you wasn't gonna do. You already knew what you had to do. So all this, I don't whoop my kids. That's because they whooping your ass. That's why you don't whoop them. Because they whooping your ass. And you don't want to tell the truth. So what you just said, Marcus, about the church is a problem and they lying, remember, those are male figures in front of our boys in them churches. But they let everything go on in the church. You got casinos in the back of the churches. You're selling coochie at the church. Everybody's sleeping with everybody at the church. But this the environment you cool with bringing your kids in. See, you got to stop putting your kids in harm's way, man.
So I kind of want to touch on that too. How now I don't want to beat up on the church all the way because it's not the church. It's not all the church's fault what goes on in our community, but the church is, to Marcus's point, it's the biggest pillar in the community. We got more churches in our community than we have schools. You know what I mean? And so, how many times, in regards to what the church does demand, how many times have you heard Black women, especially, say, "Well, Jesus is my husband. I'm married to Jesus." It's like, huh? I don't need no man. As long as I got Jesus, I don't need no man. Jesus, come on now, really? And then back in the day, I'm 49 years old. I'm not that old, I guess. Maybe I am. But I remember when the pastor, you could get him on the phone and say, "Hey, you know what this is going on in my family. Could you come over here and talk and pray?" Whatever. He come get in his Cadillac or whatever he was driving, come right over. Nowadays, most Black pastors, you got these big giant mega churches, and you got to talk to the armor bearer next to the armor bearer that goes next to the armor bearer, and then you got to talk to his secretary, and then you might be able to send him a message on the kite, and then he ain't gonna. So you see what I'm saying? And there's something else I was gonna say. I took notes. Docile. The church has made Black people very docile. My father has this saying that prayer ain't worth a damn at a bear meeting. Basically, if I'm about to get eaten up by some bears, I'm going to get on my knees and pray, "Oh, Lord." I'm telling you, I told y'all about a month and a half ago, I was almost eaten up by a pit bull. And I did. I prayed a little bit because I didn't have nothing with me. Nothing happened. And I happened to be on the phone with my dad. And he said, "See, you're supposed to have you a stick or something. Prayer ain't worth a damn at a bear meeting." So the point that I'm making is to Marcus's point, I'm not saying we shouldn't pray. I pray every day, but we can't rely on prayer exclusively to solve our problems. In that very book that people claim that they read, it says faith without the works is dead. You also got to do something. It ain't no, "Wow, I'm going to wait on God." It made Black people but that's how that also comes from slavery and making Black people docile due to religion. Well, don't take matters into your own hands now, slave. Black people in 2020. Wait on God. Wait for Jesus to fall out the sky and come solve all your problems. While you guys said, we got murders in the neighborhood and, just a whole host of things that we could really solve ourselves. Jesus is waiting on us.
Let me hit this one too. Let me hit this one. Let me hit this one. Another thing is, I tell people this every day now, and I believe it. Stop praying for prayers that's already been answered. God done told you how to save yourself. He done told you how to fix this situation. He done gave you every tool you need to solve every problem you're going through, but you still on your knees praying for him to come down and do it for you. You still praying for him to stand in front of you and say, okay, follow me and let's do it this way. That is a big problem. Everybody think they can throw prayer on it and walk away. And that is bullshit. Them prayers been answered a long time ago. Everything you need to fix it has already been given to you. You got a lot of people that just don't want to do shit but pray. And I don't know what church you belong to, but I don't think you getting saved that way. I think sometimes you losing your salvation if you depending on that prayer to keep you going while you're not doing shit.
Well, I tell you what, God is in abundance, I guess, because we got every corner got a church on it in the black neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
And a black pastor and trying to, be examples to our black young men. But the issue that I have with all of that is all of the issues that we have as a people, whether it's religion, whatever. Why the other races don't have them? Why they ain't going through the shit we go through? God seemed to not have a problem showing up in the white neighborhood. I don't know, with the God thing, I'm telling y'all, I'm in transition. But it's just something about God that tell me, I don't believe that God would let everybody be kind of decent and us stay fucked up for 400 years. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I believe. But hold on.
Let me hit that. They got their version of God. That's a whole different monster. They ain't got the same God we do. What they got is they got a comfortable situation that look real good on the surface where they can deal with God and believe in God in the way they want to. It ain't that their life is so much better. It's that they should stay in private because they can afford to keep it that way. And money make things look a whole lot better when you walk outside your door.
If money makes things look a whole lot better, when we gonna wake the fuck up and just do what we need to do? When we just gonna do it? Look, if you see that bad broad out there and you want her, you go and get her. If you see that car you want, you go and get her. But let me put it like the youngsters put it. If you see that bag, you go and get it. So when it comes to changing and fixing us, the solutions are already there. Then why aren't we doing it?
I want to say this, and I don't want anybody to mistake me. I do believe that there's a higher power. I just do not believe in it in the way that we've been taught by white people. But Gary, I'm 100% with you. We were taught Christianity when we came over here. What is the white people's gods doing differently than ours? Didn't they teach us the same religion that they had? So why aren't our prayers working in hell? If God, and I don't want to say God, but if Jesus or the God that we've been taught about existed, I know good and hell well slaves said prayers all the time when master was coming to get their mama or their daughter to, rape her and, snatch her babies away. I know they got on their knees plenty of times asking God to intervene or, the version of God we've heard. Nothing happened. And here we are all these years later, still praying to that same God. In fact, we were brought over here on the good ship, Jesus. So what's so good about a Jesus that will bring, black people over here wholesale to endure the horrors that we went through? And I would also say this, I'm not one that necessarily believes in hell. all the hell that black people have been through since we've been over here, you mean to tell me we're going to go somewhere where it's worse? I mean, we're already living in hell, but I agree with both of you. Heaven and hell is right here, right now. Like, think of all the older people in our family, our grandmamas and, you know, older aunties and all of them who were waiting on God. No, you know, the Lord, I'm waiting. And then you watch them get lowered 6 feet deep, not having anything they wanted fulfilled because they continue to wait on God. And unfortunately, they taught us those same ideologies. And that's why I said we were made docile, but that was by design. Last thing you want a slave to do, I'm talking about in slavery, is to say, forget your Jesus. I'm about to take something and bash your head in, Nat Turner style, and get the fuck up out of here. So I'm with you.
I just, you know, like I say, I mean, I get it. I think about things differently. I don't think inside of a box. You know, if God is to save our children, then, you know, we're gonna have to change some things. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think God comes in the form for me and with just common sense. You know, you want to raise your kids a better way. I come from poverty. I had nothing. I was able to move my family out of a very bad situation. You see what I'm saying? And it looks like the shit doesn't improve for us until we move out there with them. We start hanging with them, doing different things. It looks a little bit better. But the problem I have with people is everybody, even on this page right now, everybody got a solution. Well, if we got all these goddamn solutions, why ain't shit working? Why ain't nothing working? And the way I see it, the reason that it ain't working, because we just steadily talking. We ain't doing shit. We just steady talking. And we can talk all day long. But if we gonna save our boys, we need to get to the business of saving our boys. If we gonna save our girls, we need to get to the business of saving our girls. If we want to change our economic situation, we need to start doing better things with our fucking money. That's all it boils down to. All this goddamn talking gonna have y'all poor, but I'm gonna be at the next Trump rally with my people.
Let me hit that right there. Let me hit that right there. I'm gonna say this though. If you look at what we deal with every day, we deal with George Floyd, we deal with Donald Trump, we deal with incarceration, we deal with too many guns, we deal with us killing us. We got so many things that we're fighting, and we got a handful of people fighting this, we got a handful fighting that. We have not picked one thing to solve. And if you look at it, there has not been one strong stand made for anything from start to finish since the 60s. That was the last time something actually got completed on paper, into law, into legislation. Right now, we move around. You brought up, Gary, you brought up teen pregnancy. Teen pregnancy is the same goddamn thing it's always been. We just don't deal with it no more. You know, homosexuality in the community, we don't deal with it no more. It's cool now. A lot of things we kind of touch on it until it become okay. Then we move to the next thing. My belief is we got to pick one thing. We got to get behind that shit, finish it, then go to the next thing. If we complete something, we'll see we can complete something else. But we don't complete shit and we don't really believe it. A lot of people believe in a Band-Aid, and that's what we got used to. We can get 70% of the way, or we can get it 50% lower. We don't believe in 100% of nothing. You know, that's how we got to where we accept Joe Biden. Well, he better than Trump. That's how we got to where we accept Trump. Well, he better than Joe. If ain't neither one of them giving you what you want, say the hell with both of them.
Why don't we try some different things? Now I'm gonna make somebody mad. Demetri might cuss me out. Why don't we try getting our narrow black asses up in the morning and go to get a job? If we don't have a job, why don't we try getting up in the morning and trying to go find one? Why don't we wake up the kids in the morning and send them to school on time? Why don't we hold our children accountable instead of bashing our teachers? You follow me where I'm going with this thing? Why don't we teach our kids basic respect? There are things that we can do that ain't got a goddamn thing to do with money. It got something to do with being a respectable black person. And some of us just don't want to do the job.
I'm gonna answer that job thing. All I done had all my life is jobs. I done had one job. I can go get another job tomorrow if I want one. But right now, for a lot of people, that job is just way unacceptable right now. It's too much shit that go into that job. I have walked off good jobs because I know in the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna fuck you up and we gonna be on the news in here. I'm ready to do you in.
But I get that. You have, if you're gonna work in corporate America and that's gonna be your thing, you need to have some type of stability. You remember your kids are watching you walk off these jobs. Your kids are watching you come home and tell the wife again, oh, I done quit that job because I done got pissed off. But we're molding young minds. So I always want you to remember, and these are my final thoughts, that as fucked up as we may be, one of our kids gonna be just like us.
I'm gonna say this, and this is just me personally. I've had plenty of jobs in my life, but I also come from entrepreneurs. You know, my mother, both of my fathers, entrepreneurs. So that's what I know, and I agree with Marcus. You know, I think we are taught as Black people to go get jobs, but we're not overall. I'm not saying all those, but we're not taught to go create jobs. Let's go make jobs so that we can be the boss and we can hire our own people and all of that. And I never taught my daughter to go get a job. As you say, Gary, the 40-40 plan. I never taught her that, you know, because I didn't want my daughter to be on somebody's job miserable until she's 65, 70, and then she goes in a rocking chair and die. Taught her, you know, you go do what you got to do so you can have freedom, because time is valuable and time is money. And I would say this about being respectable or respectful. That's one thing that I think we really have got to get a hold of. And I know it's going to sound kind of more on the cosmetic side, if you will. But why are we? And I'm not saying it's just us, but I'm speaking to us. Why are we walking out the house with hair bonnets on and pajamas and, you know, as my dad say, your pants hanging up off your ass and you got on flip-flops.
It's a hot girl summer.
Nah, that's the hot mess summer, okay? I was at the grocery store with my daughter. And I understand the stay-at-home order and everything's going on. I was at the grocery store with my daughter. I swear for God and 12 disciples, if I didn't see a Black woman with a bonnet on and a bathrobe, loading her groceries from the cart into her car. This lady walked her ass all around the grocery store. I'm talking about terry cloth robe, the kind that you get out in the shower, with a bonnet and some house shoes on. She had walked all around the grocery store looking that way. And so I know some people say, well, you know, this, that, and the other. Nah, I never saw my grandmama dress like that. I didn't see my mama do it. If I did, they was in the house. They didn't, you know, parade all over town like that. I've never seen my father's pants fall off of his ass, walking around with one hand on his belt.
So what would you tell a kid whose pants was sagging? What would that conversation be like?
It's been 30 years. That's what you tell them. It's been 30 years, God damn it.
No.
Change the style up.
No.
What would you tell them?
I've actually had conversations with plenty of young men. I'm like, wow, you're a good looking dude. Why don't you pull your pants up? You know what? Do you realize your pants? You know, and I'm making like light of it, but I'm serious. And then I want a lot of times to put it on their mind. Sometimes if I'm driving by in the car, hey, brother, pull your pants up. And they'll pull the pants up. Now, I've only had really one time where a guy was like, this is my style. This is why you can't change everybody's mind. But a lot of times we're afraid to even have those conversations with our young people. And a lot of times it's our delivery. I am big on delivery. It's how you talk to people. Now, if I say, man, you ain't shit, you need to pull your pants up. You look stupid. You know, I don't want to see your dirty ass under. Of course, yeah, he's not gonna listen to me. But if I go to him in a amiable manner, then he's probably going to listen to me. But we got to start having those conversations. But I get sick and tired of people defending how we live, and it's not even about how. Because I hate that argument too. Well, look, that's why white people don't respect. I don't give a damn what white people say about us. I'm not saying put on some nice clothes and go outside because of white people. I'm saying to put some clothes on that's presentable to go outside for us. Has nothing to do with it. We can have on a 3-piece suit and a ball gown, and they still not gonna see us in a favorable light. That is all about us because we didn't see our ancestors dressed like that. There's no reason why. I'm like, really? A bathrobe at the grocery store?
Let me jump in here and talk to these sorry male figures. When you see a kid with his pants hanging, why don't you help him? Why don't you help him? Lift his mind up, and his pants gonna follow. If you don't see nothing wrong as a strong black male figure with a young man who's masculine, wearing some skinny jeans, looking like a girl, then we defeating the purpose. It's easy to get to them. I'm telling y'all, I do it all the time. My program, I've had over 500 kids in 5 years decommit from street gangs. It's a conversation you gotta have. You gotta make it make sense. When my girls were young girls, and they would, you know how some girls are, especially girl basketball players. They like to sit with their legs wide open. I would tell my girls, ladies, don't sit like that. If you want your daughter to be treated right by a man, then you should be the man to take on her first date. There are things that we need to do that don't even cost money. We just got to be better at what we're doing. So it's been a spirited discussion, and but tomorrow I gotta kind of let the cat out the bag. Tomorrow I'm gonna go live at about 12 o'clock, and when I go live, it's gonna be from a press conference. So you might want to tune in at the 12 noon hour because we're gonna go live with a press conference, and then tomorrow night we're gonna come back with my man Quanell X on the show, and all of that has to do with the press conference. I don't want to say nothing because tomorrow we bring gifts. See, this is what a man do. I ain't gonna keep talking. I'm put it on your mind. That's what I'm finna do. And tomorrow we're gonna put it on their mind. Marcus, I thank you for filling in. If y'all need graphic work done, get with my man, man. Get with my man. He can make it happen for you. And it is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? So, I mean, you might want to get ready for it, man. There's been another spirited discussion on the War Zone. I want to thank my co-host, Marcus Guyton, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. My man coming through tomorrow. Quanell X in the building. Me and Quan got some work to do in the morning. It's going down, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow night. All you crooked elected officials, you are now on notice. Until then, we'll holler at you.